in Virginia, and he'll start off this hour and get the button pressed properly. And he says hello. Hayden, did they run the subway past 11 o'clock last night in this Sunday night game with the Phillies or no?
Oh, if you noticed during the game, dog, you saw the signs on the scoreboard. They closed down around 11 o'clock, so the last train left the station, depending on where you were going, around 10:52 at night last night, depending on where you were going.
And what time is that game over?
The game ended around just past midnight, I want to say.
So, in other words, there was nobody in the ballpark in the last 10 minutes, to make a long story short. Okay, last couple
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's be honest. I'll be honest. Once the rain delay hit, which was right around 9 o'clock or so, dog, most of the park, and it was a Sunday night, most people emptied out.
Yeah, 38 minutes. Go ahead. That was a must game. That was a big game for them. Very big game.
They are teetering right now. Let's be honest. This is a team that's never been in a dogfight. They're as tough as a poodle, and they're going to be in one for these next 2.5 months. They need to win the division just to avoid that one-game playoff. But it's going to be interesting times. But first off, Doug, I want to say congratulations to Damon Evans, the new athletic director of the University of Maryland. Somehow he got that job despite the fact that one of our football players died a few weeks ago. I have no idea how it happened. Did you hear about that, by the way, dog?
I did. Somebody passed away. Was that at a practice? What was it?
Yeah, after a workout, just an offensive lineman. Nobody knows really. They're not really giving much info. But all I know is this kid was airlifted to a hospital immediately after a workout a few weeks ago, had a liver transplant a few days later, and passed away 2 weeks after that. So the whole Maryland
terrible
has been saddened by that loss.
All right, and who does Maryland open up with in 2018 in football?
We opened with Texas. We beat them last year in Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
We played them at FedEx Field. We get our quarterbacks back this year, so we'll have a chance. We have a chance to be a surprisingly good team. But, Doug, I want to bring something else up real quick before we go more sports. How is it possible, with your big-time agent, Sandy Montag, that Mike Francesa and the Sports Babe all got into the Hall of Fame today, and you didn't?
Who got in the Hall of Fame?
How is it possible?
I didn't hear this. I did not hear. Can you send me Eddie, did you know this? Can you punch me a story? What Hall of Fame is this? Let me hear. Go ahead.
So the Radio Hall of Fame, which is a joke as they are, because they make their nominees essentially, go out there and shill for votes.
Right.
The voting process.
Right.
But they announced today who the class was. Mike, who's been broken up for months and is now, doing their own separate things right now, they got in. Your former radio partner, Mike Francesa, got in, and the Sports Babe got in. How is it possible that Mike got in together and Mike got in separately, and you were sitting there waiting for a phone call next year? So whoever's working at Sandy's agency, I know it's the middle of July, end of June.
I did not know that. This is not going to bother me the rest of the day. I did not know this, because I know 2 years ago we finished second and we did not get in. I did not even, and it is a fan vote, so it's a little. Is it still the fan vote with a?
Yes, it's still the fan vote.
Well, but you only vote for the first candidate. They vote the first three in. I don't understand how it worked. Go ahead.
It's really all a shill. I'm not sure you're paying attention. There's another guy that got in named Kit Kelly, who's a big radio DJ. He essentially went to Howard Stern and said, "Listen, can you help me get in?" And then him and his wife had Stern have all their people vote for him. He gets in that way. He probably broke the record books. Francesa and all the Mongols voted for him. But 2 years ago on a tiny little satellite platform, it was tough for.
I thought we were sad 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Well, 2 years ago we almost made it. We finished second to Michael Savage, and we almost got in, but we didn't have that. We did a nice job. I did not even realize there was some nominees in 2018. So this is news to me. So now you put me in a funk for 4 days where we can't get in. And the Sports Babes, how did she? And this nice kid, and a pioneer in a lot of ways. But I did not realize that she made it. You have any information on me in this city?
I didn't see her name here. But I do see the other ones you mentioned.
Hayden, you sure about the Sports Babe?
The Babe I just saw recently on a tweet, but I know the other ones for a fact. And I saw the Sports Babe on a tweet from a local sports talk station that congratulated her as well. So if she isn't on that list, I could be wrong. But two more quick things before you let me go as far as the sports. I'm not going to get to you. The fact that the Mets yesterday snapped a 15-game streak of not scoring 4 runs at home on the same day that they had to start the bullpen, give up 7 solo home runs and lost in extra innings. Just everything you know about their season, dog. And last is this, dog. You need to explain something to me. How is it possible that Jameis Winston got no suspension whatsoever for probably raping that girl at Florida State? But now the NFL is going to basically step in their own dog crap and suspend this guy for 3 games for a little story that no one was even talking about?
The NFL's got to do that. I have no issues with the NFL whatsoever. To me, we'll get to Winston. I know I forgot all about that. We're going to get to Winston eventually today. This makes him look terrible, assuming he does get the 3-game suspension. Remember, one of the guys that he was hanging out with on this night in March of 2016 was one of the kids from Vanderbilt who went to jail for 15 years for the gang rape. Think about that for a minute. That's who you want to hang out with if you're Jameis Winston, who was at a Kurt Warner charity touch football game. But it sounds like that. I should say that if he does get the 3-game suspension, which has not been confirmed or not denied yet by the NFL or anybody from the Buccaneers, it does make Florida State, they were horrendous, and the campus police and to a certain degree everybody involved in that athletic department, which includes Jimbo Fisher, to go out there and to win a championship and have a chance to win another one and everything else, and they did win one. It makes them look horrendous at Florida State, absolutely horrendous. See, Winston's behavior, if he was not going to be a perfect angel after Florida State, and if he did anything wrong, nobody after that was ever going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and that is now what has occurred. So now if you had a tendency to give him the benefit of the doubt, who knows what he said, she said, who knows what happened that night, blah, blah, blah. If you want, you're a big Florida State fan or anything like that, and you wanted to give him you were dying to give him the break and give him the benefit of the doubt, well, now that is out, because now his behavior since casts light on what happened 3 or 4 years ago, and now everybody looks bad. Not just him. Everybody at Florida State looks atrocious. There's no way around it. Not that that's that big a deal. The Florida State fan's not going to care. He's still going to show up at the games every Saturday, but they look bad. Here is Bob in Canada. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Robert, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. First time caller, long time listener.
There you go, Robert. Thank you. Good to have you aboard today. What's on your mind?
Thank you. I especially enjoy your conversations with authors. Like a couple of years ago, you had the guy that wrote about Spencer Tracy.
No, that was, boy, oh boy. That was Parker, I believe his name was. Wrote that great book on Spencer Tracy more than a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. But yes, that is what.
Oh, my God, that was fantastic. Anyway, a couple of things. Hopefully, in your next 4 days, you're taking a vacation. You're working on your golf game. I just tell you from personal experience, I knocked off 3 shots in 1 year of my handicap, 3 strokes.
By doing what?
Just by doing nothing else but 15 minutes a night, chipping and putting on the way home from work. Because once you get home, you're not going back out. You're not going to work on your game or anything else.
Now, you have to do it. You have to do it where you're purportedly at work. No question about it. I'm with you on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, anyway.
It's almost like you have to stop somewhere to practice before you get home. So I do understand. I got to decide if it's worth it for me. But go ahead. What's number 2?
Well, 3 strokes off your...
Well, 3 strokes is significant. No question about it. Yes.
In a year's time, no doubt about it. And, I'm no expert or anything. I can just tell you what helped me. Anyway, 2 things, one of which is on golf. You mentioned Spieth and McIlroy and these guys all in that tournament in Connecticut. I think they're working on their game. They got to work on that game because they've just evidently lost focus.
Yeah, but remember they didn't decide to play those 2 that tournament. After they didn't make the cut at the U.S. Open. They had made a commitment to that tournament a couple of weeks ago, or even prior to that. So they were going to play at Travelers regardless of what happened at Shinnecock. It's not too far from Southampton to Cromwell, Connecticut. It's drivable. So from that perspective, that is what occurred here. Not that these golfers, they probably flew up there, a private jet, but those guys were going to play there. They were going to, they made a commitment to go play. They like that tournament. A lot of them love the course, so they go out there and they play.
I understand they're very comfortable there, but they're also working on their game to get ready for the 2 more majors coming up in the course of the year. Anyway, my theory on their losing focus is, especially Spieth and McIlroy, they've had equipment changes. They've had management changes, and their personal relationships have changes. You saw the same thing years ago with David Duvall, who was a number one player at one time, and then he starts having these kinds of changes in their life. You play the game, you know how much focus means. And when they're not paying attention, they're distracted by off-the-course issues, their game goes to hell. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Other than the fact I enjoy your conversations and your chatter with Stephen A. and Steve Torrey.
Good job. We'll get Torrey on a little bit. Here are the inductees by the vote. Mark Levin, this is the Radio Hall of Fame. Is that pronounced right? Levine, okay, from Westwood 1. It just says by the public vote. It just says Kid Kelly, Backtracks USA with Kid Kelly, syndicated by Westwood 1.
He's here at Sirius, too. See him all the time.
Okay. Yeah. I wonder if Sirius, I'm sure they promoted it, right?
They did send out a release to vote.
Yeah, I did not get that. Sirius never did that for us last year. But anyway,
they couldn't vote for you. You weren't even on the ballot.
2 years they didn't send out. They didn't tell us to go vote. Anyway, Jonathan Brandon Meyer or Meir, do you know that one?
That one I don't know.
Out of Chicago. Jim Kerr, we know Jim, long-time New York, long-standing DJ on the Q104.3.
The Jim Kerr Morning Show.
Mike and Mike from ESPN. A lot of these have been on many. Dr. Laura Schlesinger. Dr. Laura, Sirius XM. I'm sure they they made sure that the
vote for Dr. Laura?
The votes got out. Okay, and then there are the National Radio Hall of Fame nominating committee voted to induct 4 individuals for their contribution to the industry. Oh, okay. So this is a separate vote of the 4. This is from Hayden a short time ago.
Thanks, Hayden, for ruining my day.
Yeah, those 4 were Nancy Donnellan from the Sports Babe, Mike, my old buddy, Joan Hamburg from the Joan Hamburg Show, and Fred Jacobs, who is, I guess, a creator of the classic radio for classic rock music format. The National Radio Hall of Fame chairman Craig Kitchen, quote, said, "It is our mission to recognize the most impactful personalities and individuals to our medium. We're proud to induct these individuals for their contributions to the National Radio Hall of Fame in our 30th year. The induction is at November 15th at Gustavino's. It's in Midtown Manhattan, and tickets are now available."
30 years you haven't made an impact. That's what they just told you.
I can't go on the 15th anyway because I'm going with Charlie. I'm going to Peoria, Illinois, with Charlie Steiner and Larry King.
All for dinner.
They have a. I'm not sure. It's a
broadcasting seminar, I believe.
It's a broadcasting school thing. Yes. I'm going out there for a couple days with Larry and with Charlie, the voice of the Dodgers, who we set up there last year. So I am going out there. I believe it's the 14th. I gave you the dates. I think it's the 15th and the 16th of November.
Thank Bill for that.
So I'm off to that. But if you wanted to go to the induction ceremony in New York for the Radio Hall of Fame, it's on 2018. Now, Mike and Mike, are they going to go together? Well, maybe by that time, Greenberg will run back to Golick based on those ratings. No, I shouldn't say. Who am I?
Now, this is a tough one to swallow.
Yeah, this bothers me. This is
going to bother you.
Why did you know about this?
I knew the Kid Kelly one. I had no idea about Mike until I saw him tweeting out "thank you" to the fans.
So Mike did this recently. Oh, but he
just sent out a tweet today. Thanks to the fans for voting.
But he didn't win by the vote, though.
I don't know. I mean, I think he was just thanking the fans just in general for the support of the show.
I see. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I was unaware that he was going in sans doggy.
Hey, I don't. Hey, it's not his fault. He got nominated by the committee.
All for retirement.
Oh, they got nominated for the committee. I tell you right now.
It's amazing.
I've always said it. I'll say it again. We have a solid 6, but it's only 6. 20 after the hour, we continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.